Clash of Clans has given us some interesting information that's coming in the February update, and today we're going to unpack all of it. We have 3 graphics worth of balance changes to get through, so let's get right into it. And we're going to start off with the Vamp stash here, and it's getting a DPS increase at all levels. And you can see when you get up to the higher levels, it is a pretty substantial improvement. I think the problem is though, is why would you use the Vamp stash? It is very good, but if you want to send the king inside the base like we often do, the Vamp stash really isn't going to cut it, but hopefully it gets more use. I really do like this equipment. Then we're going to move on to the Barbarian Puppet. Now, the purpose of these balance changes isn't to make it usable at the higher levels. They just want it to be better at the initial levels so that people can use it as the starter equipment in the game. It's the same exact thing for the Archer Puppet that you see below. The balance changes really aren't that big despite how underutilized it is, and that's because they're not trying to make it strong, they're just trying to make it better for the lower levels, and I think this will do that. In saying that, I still don't think you should ever use the Archer Puppet or the Barbarian Puppet, even if you're at those lower levels. These are the buffs I'm really interested in, so we get a whole series of buffs for the Life Gem. So let's start with the DPS increase. Not really that big, it's about 10% across all levels. It will help if you're doing Warden walks without the Fireball. So just, you know, what would it be? It'd be the Eternal Tome and the Life Gem if you're doing, say, Super Bowlers or maybe Throwers, you name it. Can be useful, but really kind of small. We also get a HP increase, which is nice, but your Warden really shouldn't be taking too much damage, particularly when you're using the Life Gem. But the big one here is the max HP increase, and look at it, at all levels getting a huge increase, particularly at level 18, even though the percent is lower than the other ones, 180 extra hit points. Is this going to bring Hybrid or Twin Hogs or Lalo back into the meta? We'll talk about that in a minute. Now let's move on to the Royal Gem. So the Royal Gem, yet again, HP increase. So this is initial HP. So total HP, this is not the health recovery. That's unchanged, but the extra HP you get, it's nice, an extra 190, but it's not what makes the Royal Gem strong. What makes the Royal Gem strong is the DPS increase, and I was actually kind of disappointed with the DPS increase here. Only going up to 120 at max level. I was hoping this would go up to like 160, 170. Think of the DPS you get with the Electro Boots. So, is it going to be used? No, I'd only recommend using the Royal Gem if you don't have any of the epic equipments and you're at Town Hall 13 or 14. Now let's move on to the nerfs, the things that are going to anger all of you, and we're going to start with a nerf that was kind of needed, honestly. The Earthquake Boots were ridiculous, particularly when they were doing 60% damage to buildings. Now that's going to go down to 40% at max. Interestingly enough, I never noticed this, but the ability can kill defensive skeletons. I had no idea. Well, it won't be doing that anymore, but still 40% is a lot of hit points, and we'll show in a replay at the end the effect the change has, particularly when you pair the Earthquake Boots with the Spiky Ball. Now the Fireball, this is a nerf aimed at competitive play. In competitive play, you can only get up to level 21 epic equipment because you're playing on hard mode. So now you're not going to get the max range of the Fireball, so it's going to go down from 6 tiles to 5. But this also hurts Town Hall 12, 13, and 14 because those Town Halls can no longer get a max radius Fireball. So that's going to change how you all attack. If you want to see a video on that at some point, do let us know and we'll do it, showcasing the difference that that one tile can make. Now we move on to the Electro Boots, and this was the most obvious nerf in the history. It is so broken, it's not even close. It needed a big nerf, and you can see the nerfs here. Now for the self-healing, it's mainly at the higher levels, but I mean, it's only going down 15 self-healing, and honestly, the self-healing isn't what makes this OP. What makes it OP is the aura damage, and this is getting a little bit of a nerf at max level 250 down to 200, so it is a sizable nerf, but 200 DPS, that's about a level 20, I believe, at the moment. That's about a level 20 Electro Boots, and you can still do charges with a level 20 Electro Boots. So I don't think it kills the equipment. It definitely makes it more balanced. It'll be interesting to see it used as part of strategies. For instance, can you use it with hybrid? Not as the charge, but with the actual army. We haven't seen a lot of that because it's kind of being used as a brute force opener on every attack. And I actually think it's still going to be strong because it's really nice with, you know, hybrid, Lalo, I mean, anything really, Super Witch Fireball, you name it. But here is one of the biggest changes. The INVIS spell is getting a nerf at every level of 0.25 seconds. Now, 0.25 seconds isn't huge, so you might think it can still work the Electro Boots charge, and it definitely can, but it does no longer pair very well with the Spirit Fox. One of the other things I wanted to test is if on the King you've got the max Spiky Ball and the max Earthquake Boots, will you still be able to take down all the buildings? Because that's the point of this nerf to the Earthquake Boots. You shouldn't be able to do it. So let's have a look here. Earthquake Boots affects everything, and we get everything down, but not quite this ricochet cannon. So my simple advice for this is it making a really big difference? No, you're still going to do so much damage with this combination, particularly at max level, but you're not going to be able to finish off the ricochet cannons, which obviously the highest hit point defense we've got on the base at this point. So, still strong, but not as broken. When the INVIS spell is 4.5 seconds, it works basically perfectly with the Spirit Fox. The Spirit Fox makes you invisible for a certain amount of time, and the INVIS covers the rest. Let's see what difference it makes with 0.25 seconds less. So we put the Royal Champion down here, and I'm trying to nail this INVIS spell timing, but you see, the Town Hall gets a shot off. Nothing else does, but the Town Hall does. Not the end of the world, but look, the Town Hall gets a second shot off on either side of the INVIS. So really, there is no way to go to the Town Hall without at least taking one hit's worth of damage, which is a problem because the Town Hall does a lot to your Spirit Fox as well. So, is it going to kill this strategy? No, you're still going to be able to do your Spirit Walk Electro Boots charge, but it is going to be much more difficult than before. You're going to have to be scared of going anywhere near the Town Hall. You might need to use more Invis and less of the Spirit Fox. I'll be interested to see where the meta goes. So let's quickly sum up everything from today's video, and I'm going to tell you whether I would put ores into the equipment in their new states. We're back in the regular version of the game here. Barb Puppet, Archer Puppet, don't put any ores into them. Ores are so rare, it is not worth doing at all. Earthquake Boots, I would still upgrade. They're still ridiculous. You saw it there with the Spiky Ball. Yeah, it's not as good, but 40% is still unreal. I mean, look, imagine if I pop the Earthquake Boots right here. The Town Hall has 10,000 hit points. That's 4,000 what? Like 4,160 damage. That is so much damage. What other equipment can do that? And that's just to the Town Hall, let alone all the other buildings in the area. So Earthquake Boots, still worth putting your ores into. Vamp Stash, I would say hold at this point. It might be strong. We don't really know at this stage until we do further testing. I just can't see it being better than Gauntlet, Earthquake Boots, or Spiky Ball. So I would say hold for this point, but there is a potential to spend more ores later on. In terms of the Warden Life Gem, I would be putting ores into this only if you do an army where the Life Gem's a choice. So if you're doing, say, Lalo, if you're doing any Hog army, any Miner army, then I would be spending your ores to upgrade this if you haven't already. If you're not doing that and you use a lot of high hit point armies like Dragons, Root Riders, Super Witches, don't. It's as simple as that, and that's the biggest weakness of this. It's only good in specific armies, and those armies are not meta at the top Town Hall at the moment, but it is a nice equipment. Now, one of your questions might be, why didn't the Lava Loon get a buff? It is so underutilized, and Supercell actually left us something to tell you for that, and that is, they believe... So they're going to wait for now, but they believe in the past some hero equipment hasn't been as strong when it's come out, and then people have figured out how to use it. So essentially, they think we haven't figured out how to use this, and in fact, the Lava Loon Puppet can be strong with dragon attacks, is what they said. I fundamentally disagree. This equipment is useless. There is no situation where I would recommend it. Not even with dragon attacks. Run the Heal Tome and the Eternal Tome instead, or even the Rage Gem. maybe in the future. So they've said they're open to, in a couple of months' time, looking at maybe buffing it. Yeah, disappointing. Fireball, I'd still invest in it. Even if you're at that Town Hall 12 to 14 where you're affected by the range nerf, the range doesn't really make a difference. We showed it in our top 3 attack strategies for each Town Hall, where I used the lower level Fireball, which only has the radius of 5, and you can still get 3 stars. So I would still invest in that. Royal Gem, only if you have none of the epic equipment open on the unlocked on the Royal Champion. Otherwise, it's just not that good an equipment, sadly, because I do really like it. Electro Boots, I would still be investing in it, but you have to realize it's not going to be as strong as before, but that doesn't mean it's not useful. It can still be strong, it's just not as strong, and I think we can all agree it needed a nerf. Also, watch this graphic. I've never watched it on the left. That shows how bad the Royal Champion pathing is in this game. She can jump walls, but she's running like she can't. Look at that. What is she doing? And this next one's even worse. Where are you going? Hero AI for you. And lastly, the INVIS spell, which will now be down to 4.25 seconds. I would still invest in it. It's still a good spell, but I will do some testing in the next couple of days with Super Archer clone attacks and Blizzard attacks, because you know, you bring what, 6 invis for the Super Archer clones. So that's 1.5 less seconds every attack. So that's probably 1 or 2 less shots, because the Super Archers shoot quite quickly. That could kill that attack strategy for good, and I have to say, I can't believe I would have said this 2 years ago. I would be sad to see Super Archer clone die out of the meta. It's, at least you can bait it, unlike all the spam attack strategies in the meta currently. But let us know down below what you think of all the balance changes today. Is it going to change your hero spending? And I'm going to reiterate this. All of these changes are for February. A February update is coming, and Supercell, like they did last year, let us know well in advance. And I really like this. It means you're not going to put your ores into something that's later going to be nerfed and you're going to be upset about. Now, I'd still put my ores into all the things that get nerfed anyway, because the nerfs aren't that big, but at least you know that you're spending your ores on something that will soon be nerfed. But that's it for today's video. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and we'll see you for more awesome content tomorrow.